Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. The daylilies are so beautiful and so prolific that sometimes I don't take enough pictures of them because I feel like they'll be there forever because they are there for such a long time. But one day they will all be gone off of the stem, but they'll be back next year. Of course, when I say they last such a long time, their bloom time is actually one day and then they're gone. But usually they have so many different blooms on it that when one bloom goes away, the next day or soon afterward, another bloom will follow suit. My pretty little purple rooster bee balm or Monarda has gone the way of all the earth. But my Jacob Klein, this maroon red, some of it is getting to be spent, but more of it is just beginning to come on. Our little cardinal is over there busy with her nest. She's got it built. She doesn't have any eggs in there yet, but I hadn't seen her in about 4 days, but we just missed each other because here she is. I just love it when I'm greeted by beauty like this of a morning. Even when the morning at 11:30 is already 90 degrees and there's 100s in the forecast as far as the eye can see. Isn't this beautiful? This is that Copper King hibiscus. I need to trim off my zinnias and get some bouquets for inside. It's just that I actually enjoy them better in the garden than I do when I take them in. But if they're not trimmed back, they'll get all ratty looking too soon. So I definitely want to trim them back and give them a chance to put on fresh new blooms and even fresh new foliage so that they will still look nice through longer of the summer. Look at this. I love it when it makes a bouquet on the stalk when it's still in the garden. Most of the times they're a little bit more scattered along on the plant, but every once in a while they just bunch up and make this beautiful little display. Oh, look at this. I looked last night when I watered and there wasn't any, and then this morning look at all those tiny little plants coming up. That's wonderful. But this little pot has not yet put up any. And I think they were planted that same day, so they may not. However, I'm still going to hold out hope. I will be very much disappointed if this doesn't put out my little yellow and pink profusion zinnias because I really wanted that color display in here. But if it doesn't, I'll see what kind of seed I have and try again. But I don't think I have enough of the pink and yellow left because I definitely have used them all over the place. I saved some just for this little pot, but I think I used most of them when I went ahead and planted it. I was pretty much done with planting seeds and plants, but you know, it's always worth it if you find something that still has some beauty on it in the 75% off category. And this is that hummingbird mint, or Augusta Key, however you pronounce that. But look at that pretty, let me see if I can get it where you can see the color. It's just a beautiful yellow. It's wanting to fade out on me here, and it's very little color on it, but it's enough you can tell what it would look like. And I'm hoping that it will pick up and go. It's even a perennial. Lots of times I get perennials that never come back, so I'm hoping it will come back each year. And it's very pretty, and not to mention that it beckons the hummingbirds. I was extremely proud that I got this little one here. You can tell how much healthier it is, and it did have some pretty color on it this earlier, and I went ahead, actually it was getting just a little bit ratty looking, so I did trim it off. I did not look first and see, but most plants, if you trim them, they have a better chance of putting on another bloom. So I may read about this a little bit later and see what Google has to say about it, but it looks good, just a little green bush, and it looks great when it's full of little creamsicle orange blooms. My lawn was looking pretty yellow and almost brown in spots, so I did finally get some water going on it, and it honestly only took a day for it to start looking better, greener, and so I'm going to try to not let it get that bad again. But you know, summer is only just now beginning. And here is another little hanging basket that I saw no signs of seed in last night when I watered, but you may have to look very closely. But there are some little seedlings coming up in here, so that's great. They may not look like much, but when anything blooms, it's a wonderful surprise. And when you grow something from that tiny of a little plant, well, not even a plant, from that tiny of a little seed, and it turns into a tiny little plant and then grows up to be a great beauty, you know, whatever size a plant gets to be, it will grow that size from a seed, as well as it will grow from a plant. Maybe not quite as soon, but it'll be fresh and ready when some of the others are going ahead and fading away. And here's some of my little seedlings that I planted that are actually, one of them there is putting on a bud and soon will have a bloom. Zinnias are my go-to plant for seeds, because lots of times by the time I get through planting the ones that I want to plant from the nurseries and transplanting and doing all that needs to be done in the garden in the spring, it's usually pretty late in the season, and zinnias will start late in the season and still look beautiful by the end of the season. And I've said it before, but it merits saying again that you can find a zinnia in just about any size to fit any place in your garden, from the tall ones you can put in the background to the very short ones that look great in small pots. These of course will get bigger, but I think a bunch of these are the little profusion zinnias, but they also put on a wonderful showing. They're small, but they just put on huge bouquets of flowers. Sometimes, not always, but most usually they do. And there may be some Zahara zinnias in there too, which they're a short plant, maybe not quite as short as the profusion zinnias, but almost. And yet they have a bloom that looks just like it came off of a tall plant. They're big and full and beautiful. And just look at me growing Calabrachoa in July. Okay, it's only July the 2nd. We'll see how far it'll go. I've never had it to last through the season, but isn't this beautiful right now? I would love for it to just keep going and keep going. My impatiens usually always do that, like these right here, unless the snails or the roly-polies get to them, and especially when they're babies, when they're in their youth stage, these little impatiens are so tender and they just go for them and destroy them. But these have got a good start, and I hope they'll continue on, and they normally do for me, whereas the calabachoa and this pretty little blue fan flower or purple, whichever you call that, they usually don't. But I always hope for it, and we're just going to wait and see. And for right now, we're just going to enjoy them while we have them. So pretty. My little floss flower, it either died out or all but died out in the back, but this one is still looking pretty good. And I've got that beautiful bacopa there in front of it too, that little, I'm calling this blue, I'm calling all of this blue, but you may call it purple. My husband says that's purple about lots of plants that I call blue, and that's probably true, but you know, that's my version of it. But this is all the pretty bacopa. Right now it's not in bloom, but if it can keep a hold of its beautiful green and health, and I can see that some of it right here already is not very healthy looking. But usually this is what mine does, and it just goes, but I'm hoping that it will stay. This is looking the best of all the ones that I got, and I have lost several of them. Matter of fact, I think this one and one in the front in that one pot that has several plants, mostly, if not all, annuals in it, but it still has some of the bacopa in it too. Oh, and this one is another little plant that I got at 75% off, and this is called a purple bat flower, so I'm hoping it will do well and look great there and do healthy and make a pretty showing in this little pot. This is where I had that beautiful catmint, and it did look so good, and then my pot, the drain got stopped some way, and it had already rotted before I got it out of there and got it cleaned up and some fresh dirt put in. So, but I do have some little ones. I can get it where you can see it. Some little pieces are coming up, and I actually did plant a few more in there, but I actually took those out too because they were not living, they were dying. There's some root there. We'll see if it will come back. If not, we'll just wait until that one little plant, or else I'll get around and maybe in the fall, if these haven't grown, I'll probably go ahead and transplant some more in there. But at least it won't be empty for the whole season, and this could be every bit as beautiful as the catmint before it's over. It probably won't fill out the whole pot, but I do have some zinnias planted in it too, all the way around on the other side too, which could really make this look pretty. And then another little zinnia right there in this small pot. I'll just go back around to the back here where I can show you what pot I'm talking about, because this is a fairly large pot, and I do have lots of pretty color in it. I started out, I think, with just this beautiful concoleus. This is one of my very favorite of the concoleus, but of course I like them all. But this is the little bacopa I was telling you about. Right now it too is not in bloom, but if it stays healthy like that, at some point it will be in bloom. And there's still some bacopa and some fanflower in this little pot too. And actually that plectranthus right there, I went ahead and clipped it back because it was just so much bigger than anything else in the pot. It just didn't look good to me, so I took some of it out. I didn't take out the root, I just clipped it back. I didn't take it out, I clipped it back, and I like it better like that. But this is one of my favorite, although the sun is probably not at a good position for you to see how pretty this really is. but you'll get the idea. And I don't know if she'll stay there, but I'm going to go across just a little bit because, oh, and I need to redo this. I put a hibiscus in it, but it didn't live, so I'm going to try again. But right there beside everything is my little redbird. If I'm getting her for you, and I'm not sure, the sun is glaring on my lens and I can't tell, but I hope you can see that she's over there, and she is either laying or sitting on her eggs. When I last looked, there were no eggs in the nest, so I'm not sure which she's doing, but they're still planning on having another little set of babies, and I wish them well. As a matter of fact, I bought some snake away that I'm going to put around in that area where she is, and hope that maybe I can help her out this time. There certainly was no help last time. I didn't even know it happened until I reached up there and I thought, what is that, a stick? And I started to touch it, but something in my being just alerted me, well, you've got water in your hand, just spray it first. And oh man, I sprayed it and that thing just fell out. He knew he had done wrong. He was trying to get out of there. But it was too late to help the baby birds. And my little strawberry pot impatiens are filling out. They're not full enough to cover the pot and really shine yet, but they are looking good. This Swedish ivy had died out from last year, and I was able to find a good size one, and it's growing. I need probably to put some of this in another spot. And I had a pot in the back that I had variegated dew plant in. It was so pretty, and it lasted through the winter, but it did look horrible, and it was not able to come out of it. As a matter of fact, when I saw when I was looking at the 75% off flowers, I saw one that was labeled dew plant and variegated dew plant, and I went to the pot and it was empty totally. It had died out there too, which a lot of things are now. It's, you know, it's time for them to. They're going to have to be taken care of and in a bigger pot and just all kinds of things for them to live. So it was gone. So I probably will just take some of this and put little snippets in that one in the back that did have the dew plant in it, and have 2 pots of Swedish ivy. Today is July the 4th, and it's very hot and supposed to get hotter. I wish we could all do like this little toad and just find a cool spot and hunker down to get through the heat. And then there's that grackle making that horrible sound. I don't see how this little toad relaxes with all that going on. I hope I'm getting him where you can see him and he's not all blurred out. The sunlight is shining on my lens, so I'm not sure. But even though it's terribly hot, I wanted to come back out and get this beautiful purslane moss where you could see it today. And this one is also bloomed out to where you can really see the pretty pink and yellow double purslane moss. I love this little plant. And though the daylilies are leaving us, there's still some of them left to enjoy, and there's other things coming on like this beautiful tall phlox in the garden. And I don't know if I can get it from here because they kind of turn downward. that there's a pretty lily right here. So I'm going to get over here a little closer so you can see it a little better. The ones that smell so pretty are already going away too. There's a little bit of them left, but not very much. Most of them I need to come out here and take off all the old spent blooms. And I wanted to show you this little lily too, or this big pretty lily too. This is the second year this one has bloomed for me, so we enjoyed it last year too, if you remember. This one is a daylily. And my little cardinal did make it through all the fireworks last night. I bet she's glad to have a little quieter today. And I've got to get out here and put that, I don't know if I've got her in focus there for you, but I hope I do. I've got to get out here and put that snake away around her, because I do not want them to meet the same fate that they met earlier on in the season. I hope they grow up to be great little flying wonders of beauty. The butterfly caterpillars have got this little deal stripped. And the purslane moss is looking good on this one. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.